All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming to today's webinar hosted by Project Learning Tree. They're a great organization that does some work in environmental service learning. I'm not going to say too much about what they all do because I want them to kind of speak their own part. We have several different presenters today who you'll meet, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves. And it's sort of coming in 3 parts, today's presentation. So I guess it's time for them to take it away. I'm not sure who's starting, so I'll just send it over to the people at Project Learning Tree. Before I do, very quickly, if you have any questions regarding technology or anything like that, or even questions for the presenters, we encourage you to use the chat box on the right side, and make sure that you're sending to, you can send it directly to National Youth Leadership Council, which is myself. I'm Marcus Penny with NYLC. You can send a message directly to me if you have a tech question, but if you have a question for the presenters, we would ask that you would make sure to send to all participants so that everyone can kind of join in and be a part of the discussion. And I think that is about all I need to let you know for now in terms of my part of things. But so, yeah, again, take it away, Project Learning Tree.
Marcus, thank you. Good afternoon to some and good morning to others across the country listening in. Special thanks to the National Youth Leadership Council for providing us this opportunity to participate in their webinar series. Our title today is Project Learning Tree's GreenSchools, Environmental Service Learning. It was about 8 years ago that Project Learning Tree attended a NYLC conference, and you just opened our eyes, Marcus, to how wonderful service learning is and the kinds of programs that you guys were offering at your national conference. And I give tribute to your organization for helping engage Project Learning Tree more nationally in service learning. Project Learning Tree has a long history in environmental education, has a long history in service learning. I know that NYLC just celebrated their 30th year in service learning, going back to 1983. Project Learning Tree actually goes back to 1976 in environmental education. Our program today is going to lead us through several different speakers and different aspects of service learning, especially as it connects to our GreenSchools program and environmental service learning projects. One of the emphasis that Project Learning Tree has placed in service learning is the idea of youth voice, and we're going to be emphasizing that today. 2 of our speakers today are members of universities. One is in an undergrad program, but actually started with us when she was in high school. And Nayeli Hidalgo from the University of Houston, who is a freshman, soon to be a sophomore, down there in Houston, Texas, will be talking about her experiences, beginning in GreenSchools at Stephen F. Austin High School, and I met her recently at a workshop at Landtrip Elementary, and she'll be describing her programs and how she got involved and the types of things that she's doing. She is just a fascinating young lady that is destined for great things in education and service learning. We're also very, very thrilled to have with us this summer a student out of the master's program at Yale University in Connecticut, and that is Elizabeth Beloa. And Elizabeth will be talking about her connections with environmental education and service learning from some of her roots in Nigeria. And she'll be explaining some different things about the past, as well as her present opportunities here at Project Learning Tree and how she plans on taking this into the future. So we're thrilled to have that. James McGirt is our other speaker. James is our manager of our GreenSchools program. James has been instrumental in growing our GreenSchools program across the country. We're over 2,000 schools now. We started with a Learn and Serve grant, and we'll be talking about parts of that. My name is Al Stenstrup. I work as the Director of Education Programs for Project Learning Tree. I tell people I've been doing this for a lot of years, and I have been involved with Project Learning Tree as a participant. I actually go back to that first year in 1976 when I was a classroom teacher back in the state of Wisconsin, and have been involved every year since. So 30-some years with Project Learning Tree. If people do have questions, Marcus indicated that you can send in those questions by way of the narrative on the side, so please send those in as we go through. A special thanks to Lana Peterson. I'll call her our Executive Director. Lana was instrumental in establishing this partnership with Project Learning Tree. We look forward to working with NYLC in their conference. They'll be in Washington, D.C. next year, April 9th to the 12th. So those in the D.C. area, please put that on your calendars, because if you haven't been to an NYLC conference, it's a great experience to go to. And then especially today, our executive producer, Steven Spielberg, sometimes known as Marcus Penny. So Marcus, thanks for your attention and training that you provided us. So thank you for that. Let's get started with the program. Project Learning Tree is an environmental education program, and the types of materials that we have are shown here. We begin with early childhood. We go through K-12. We have a new program that we'll be describing and emphasizing today called GreenSchools, and we'll talk about the investigations and the kinds of programs with that. The program is really built around three stools of three legs of a stool. And that is professional development, environmental education materials, and the network. And we're going to be talking about that network as we go through the day today as well. The emphasis of Project Learning Tree is how to think, not what to think. We do not advocate for different issues, but rather try to emphasize how you can learn about the environment, how to get engaged in your community, how to take action, and how to facilitate that action into completed projects. So the whole idea is the youth themselves thinking about what they want to do, not us telling them what to do. The implementation of Project Learning Tree is done through our 50-state network and through in Washington, D.C. as well. PLT.org is our website, so you can always go there for additional information about Project Learning Tree. We have a lot of trained facilitators across our country. They are basically volunteers that have been trained to do 6-hour, 4-hour, 2-hour, online, you name the workshop format, and they will probably be able to do that for you. About 1,800 of them across the country. It varies from state to state how they're trained, how they're led, how they're communicated with through our state network coordinators. And we'll be talking about them in just a second here. The 30,000 educators that are trained each year in these different workshops in turn reach students, and these students now total around 20 million across the country since we've started. I'm not exactly sure how we arrive at that figure because it's a little bit greater than what I can remember doing. But 500,000 educators have been trained over the years. The ongoing support is done through our network. Our network is comprised of university faculty. It's comprised of state leaders in departments of natural resources, schools of forestry. It's nonprofit leaders that are members of different organizations at the state level. It's Department of Education coordinators. And in fact, I would like to have our first poll question here, Marcus. We're going to have a couple of poll questions for participants. So those of you online, this is your chance to click on either yes or no. But the question is, how many of you that are listening today know in your state who your Project Learning Tree state coordinator is? You don't have to remember their complete name, but do you know your PLT state coordinator? So just take a second, click on yes or no, and let's just see how many of our listening audience today is aware of your state coordinator in your particular states. It looks like it's a pretty balanced yes and no. Am I reading that correctly, James? Okay. So that tells us that there's a fair number of people that do not know their state coordinator. And to find out about that state coordinator, what you would do is go to our website, and you can find who the state coordinator is by clicking, once you get to the website, on Attend a Training, and then find your PLT in your state is the best way to find who your state coordinator is. They would be able to put you in touch with a facilitator who in turn can lead you on to finding out more about the implementation of Project Learning Tree. So let's find out more about that process and the GreenSchools process. GreenSchools for Project Learning Tree actually started in different aspects of the program through other avenues. Project Learning Tree has been doing service learning for years through a program called GreenWorks. Some of you may have applied for a GreenWorks grant. Some of you may have received a GreenWorks grant. Those grants go back to the 1990s and still continue today. And we'll give you an opportunity for those of you participating today or that might be listening into the future through the archived version of the program today of how to find out about the funding through GreenWorks. But the PLT GreenSchools program actually had a start in 2008, and it was based upon whole school programs and PLT schools, and in Wisconsin it was based upon GreenSchools because Wisconsin had a green school program prior to 2009. The PLT National Office actually, through a NYLC conference, became aware of Learn and Serve and the National and Community Service Program. Learn and Serve, we were fortunate to get a grant through the Learn and Serve program in their STEM initiative, and that led us deeply into the GreenSchools program. 3 years later, we had a pilot program with 60 schools across the country. We had gone to 5 different communities. We had gone through workshops in actually 12 different areas across the country, and through those workshops had trained close to several hundred teachers and students in GreenSchools. And from that beginning, we went through pilot testing of the Green School investigations. We connected to service learning. We invited students to attend training, not just teachers to attend training. We were never exactly sure how that was going to work out, but it was extremely successful. We had partners join us, the U.S. Forest Service being a partner from day one, along with Learn and Serve. Other partners have joined us for periods of time during this time, Staples Foundation being one of them, HSBC, and a variety of other funders at different times. So this program is now approximately 4 years old, and James will be filling you in more on the details of that program here in just a few minutes. But why did PLT do this? Why did we get more involved in Green Schools? Well, some of the obvious reasons. First of all, in education, the school itself, 55 million students participate in schools each day. Even during the summer, that figure is probably in the millions. 132,000 plus buildings across the United States, and the amount of money being spent just on energy alone is phenomenal. The benefits of this program, what's listed there, all the important things related to money, related to the environment, lower carbon footprint and so forth. We have emphasized that final bullet in the column there of benefits, and that is students. Students through youth voice, students through leadership, as demonstrated even in today's webinar, the idea of students and opportunities to learn and to lead. And this is one of the primary benefits that I think we have hung our hat on here in PLT Green Schools. To the school itself, what happens there? The idea, again, of youth voice, but the idea of healthy schools. It's been determined that healthy schools increase attendance. And if it's increased attendance, students will learn more. Test scores get better. Teachers are retained more. So the whole idea of improved performance can be related to the environmental aspects of the school as well as the academic aspects of the school. The process of Green Schools, establishing a green team at the school, is step one. The whole idea of looking for that youth voice, gathering students that have an interest, that want to learn more based upon service learning, the whole idea of planting, the idea of getting the group together, looking at what is best for the school, how can we plan the different activities for that, the idea of engagement of the community, how can we engage the community, how can we lead our school into reducing its environmental footprint. Our website, GreenSchools.org, is a place where you can sign up your school, register your school, and build the information about the 5 different investigations that are listed there, and engage community on that whole process. One word here before we take a more detailed look at the Green Schools program and find out more about what's happened over the 4 years is GreenWorks grants. This has been kind of the foundation to another aspect of our emphasis here at Project Learning Tree on Green Schools, and that is connecting it to service learning and connecting it to an environmental action grant program. These grants are available on an annual basis. The deadline is always September 5th. James's email is there for any questions that you might have on the program. This year, as I think we started this last year, we have 2 different grant levels in GreenWorks. The first one is up to a $1,000 grant, and these are available to any educational group, nonprofit group that has in some way participated in Project Learning Tree. And these grants are for service learning, for groups to do things on an environmental service learning project in their community. So this one is kind of general and applies to all aspects of nonprofit groups within a community. The second one is targeted at Green Schools and PLT Green Schools. So you sign up, you're registered, you need to be a registered Green School, which by the way is free of charge and is available online at www.greenschools.org. You sign up there, you become eligible, you participate in a PLT workshop, and you know how to contact your state coordinator to be able to do that. These grants are up to $3,000. And what do the grants do? The grants provide money to implement service learning environmental action grants at your school. They are put together by the Green Team and should be based on the investigations. What did the students find out? Is recycling in need at the school? Well, maybe bins are needed, or other aspects of waste reduction. Maybe it's energy. Another emphasis that we have in PLT Green Schools is school site. Is there something we can do on the school site that would improve our biodiversity? Is there something that we can improve on our school site that would connect to our school lunch program? All of those are actual programs that we would fund up to $3,000. So the grants are due on September 30th. We would love to have your school participate in the program. So if you please share this with your networks, please share this with schools that you work with. Please submit if you're one of the schools online with this. James, let's take a look at a further detail of our Green Schools program and where we are today.
Al, thank you for that very interesting and compelling history and evolution of the PLT Green Schools program. And I also would like to just share a personal note from my 23 years of being engaged in the education realm. I would say that Al Stenstrup is probably one of the best bosses that I've ever had. So a special shout out to our good bosses out there. When you look at the Green Schools program today, we have reached a number of milestones in recent months. First of all, we are proud of the fact that the program, which Al shared, was only an idea a little close to 4.5 years ago. We now are a fully functioning national program that engages over 2,400 schools nationally. One thing that we are very proud of, there was recently a program here in Washington, D.C., the Department of Education's Green Ribbon Schools program. And this program is a comprehensive recognition program that celebrates the greenest schools across America. These are the schools that save energy and reduce costs. They feature environmentally sustainable and friendly learning spaces. They promote health and also have a strong connection to environmental education with their everyday curriculum. Of the 64 schools that got this acknowledgement, 40% were PLT Green Schools, so we are quite proud of that. As Al mentioned before, our program is all about growing student leadership skills and making students responsible environmental stewards, but we have seen students go beyond that. We look at our program as being Democracy 101, in that we have students who are truly empowering their community in every sense of the word. And you are going to hear from some of those dynamic students in a bit. Why is youth development and leadership important? If you were to look at the Census Bureau, it would reveal that over 1/4 of the U.S. population, we're talking about 75 million people, happen to be under 18. I've often heard people refer to that young generation as the sleeping giant because of the immense and unlimited and often untapped potential that they possess. And we are proud of the fact that in the Green Schools program, our students don't have untapped potential. They are truly maximizing their full potential. I'm often asked, from being a person who has been in the environmental education realm over the last 5 years, what is the methodology for growing leaders of tomorrow? Do you do that by making them leaders today? We often have this kind of misguided notion that students become 18 or 21 and we say just go out there and become a leader. No, we have to grow leaders and invest in them right now, and we do that in the Green Schools program. If you look on the slide before you, you see the different things that youth get from participating in youth leadership and engagement programs, and those things are the same kind of skills that you would need to be successful in the 21st century world of work or any professional pursuit. Our students are very, very keen in being able to manifest communication, teamwork, personal identity. professionalism, and project management. And you are about to hear from a few of those students who epitomize all of those characteristics that students get from being engaged in youth programming. What is service learning? I often refer to service learning as community service on steroids. If you had students who were a part of a cleanup creek, that would be a one and done, a one-day service. But if your students go far beyond that and embrace and incorporate service learning, they're going to study water samples and analyze those water samples and connect that to the everyday school curriculum. Then at that point, they're going to present their findings to a local pollution control agency or a Department of Public Works or a school board or a city council. These are things that all have been done in the past 4 years through the Green Schools program. So we find that many of our schools who are now a part of our Green Schools program, at one time they used to only embrace community service. You have many schools that have a community service requirement in order to graduate. Through our program, we find that once schools are exposed to service learning, that they are transitioning from community service requirements to service learning requirements, and we are very proud of the fact that that has happened through the Green Schools program. Now what I want to do is talk a bit about the effective characteristics of meaningful service learning, and I'm just going to highlight a few of those, and then I'm going to allow you to hear directly from our students. Meaningful service is something, when the students are engaged in that, they go beyond just doing something that is going to be important to them. It's going to be important to both the student and the school. That is something that the Green Schools program has been successful in making happen. Linked to the curriculum, service learning is intentionally used as an instructional strategy to meet learning goals and content standards. Everything that we do in the Green Schools program, we are tied to national and state learning standards, and as of right now, we have just invested a considerable amount of time to look at Common Core and 21st next century standards to make sure that we are on point with those. Reflection. We find that service learning incorporates multiple challenging reflection activities that are ongoing. Oftentimes when you deal with students, they are moving at warp speed and they don't have the time to sit down and analyze the impact of what they have learned. So through reflection, we find that this catapults the whole service activity to a different tier. Diversity. Everything that we do in the Green Schools program is predicated on the idea of cultural competency. And we have seen wondrous things happen when students are exposed to those who are outside of their typical realm. And this is something that the Green Schools program has been a part of from day one. Youth voice. Youth voice provides youth with a strong voice in planning, implementation, evaluation, service learning experiences, and is guided through the adults. We are proud of the fact that when we thought about the Green Schools program and put our Green Schools Advisory Board together, we made a concerted effort to make sure that students were a part of that. We recently had an evaluation done of Green Schools for the first 3 years, and once again, we not only had an evaluation for the principals and the teachers who were part of the Green Schools program, we also had an evaluation for the students to make sure that youth voice was loud and clear in all that we do in the Green Schools program. We often say that Green Schools is based on the idea of standing with youth who are speaking for themselves as opposed to standing and speaking on behalf of youth. And with that said, we are going to show a quick video. We were recently highlighted on an evening news program right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., this past week. And this really just epitomizes all of the things that I just talked about: meaningful service, curriculum connection, reflection, diversity, and youth voice. And at this time, Marcus, could you cue up the Paul Middle School video?
All right, I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to have to mute you, James, so don't talk until I let you know that you're no longer muted, just to make sure we don't get any bizarre feedback. So here's the video, and I apologize in advance for any lag, but hopefully everyone should be able to hear it pretty well.
For For students at 15 D.C. schools, learning means moving out of the classroom and into the garden. We visited one of the schools that's taking part in this program to see how it's connecting students with their environments, giving today's youth an active voice. That's what makes Project Learning Tree this week's Harris's Hero.
So let's go figure out what we're going to pull out of the ground and put in the ground, okay?
Earning their green thumbs is part of the curriculum for these Paul Public Charter School students.
We really care about each other, and we care about the environment. We like family that's trying to change everything.
In class, the students investigated space around their school. They interviewed school and community members and then made proposals on ways to improve their school's environment. With support from Project Learning Tree, the students transformed an eyesore of a wall outside the school into a green-friendly mural.
When we were painting it, people would pass by and say, "Good job," or "Can I help?"
They converted an unused grassy area into a pollinator garden.
We wanted to change it to something that is nothing to something into something beautiful.
And altered this blacktop area into a home for several vegetable gardens.
Where do you think they should go?
The program has helped boost the students' confidence.
It makes me feel like I'm a part of something really big.
It gives the kids a voice of what they think their school needs.
And it also provides a creative outlet for learning.
We connect students with things that are happening in their environment in which they can kind of synthesize what they are being taught in the classroom.
Plus, it gives them time outside with their hands in the dirt, working toward a common goal.
I think helping the environment is good because later you will feel proud of yourself and you will remember the good moments.
Yeah, that's right. The students also wanted to improve the school's energy efficiency, so they installed motion detectors for the lights in the hallways and the bathrooms there. So the kids are doing some really good things, Allison.
All right, let me just get you guys back unmuted. Should be there.
As you all can see from the video, youth voice, authentic student voice is alive and well in the Green Schools program. I like to use quotes with students. One of my favorite quotes that I often use is, "There's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come." And you can see that the time and the idea of Green Schools is alive, thriving, and well. So with that said, we mentioned before that the guests of this webinar today are the students presenters that you are about to hear from. The first of which is Nayeli Hidalgo, and as Al mentioned before, she was not only a former Green Schools lead at her high school, but she has taken Green Schools to the college level, and she is still a champion of the program. So without further ado, I give to you Nayeli. Nayeli, are you out there in webinar land?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was having difficulties with my phone. Hello, everybody. Are you able to hear me perfectly fine?
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me, my voice is a bit scratchy or my small cough. I'm recovering from a cold. Today, I'm going to share with you all my experience with Green Schools. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself before I go into my story. I am from Houston, Texas. I am a member of Friends of the Forest, Amigos del Bosque. It's a nonprofit organization. I've been part of their outreach team for about 3 years now. I'm also one of the Green School student leaders. I graduated from Austin High School. It's currently a Green School here in Houston, and I am a freshman at the University of Houston. And the one thing that a lot of people call me is a green artist because I like to incorporate recycled or reusable materials into most of my artwork. How I first got introduced to Green Schools was through Best Buddies. Best Buddies is a program that partners student leaders with life skill students to help them build up their skills while also building friendships with other students. Life skill students, if some of you don't know, are physically or mentally challenged students. Through this program, I met Tamberly. She's a conservation education specialist that works for the U.S. Forest Service. She was there at Austin High School shooting a pollinator live with some of the life skill students. And like I mentioned, I'm an artist. She found out I was an artist and asked me if I could help out with the making of some of the props. And I told her sure, and helped out with some of the props in the video, and after that, we got to know each other more, and she started introducing me into GreenSchools and telling me more about it. And I got interested in it, and we went ahead and went through with it my senior year. And and during my senior year, we did the water investigation. And we started off with like about 10 students, and it was the first time doing having a GreenSchools club there at our school, because like at that time it was only the life skills students that were in charge of the entire gardens or green space there at Austin High School, that they would water the plants all the time or go out and clean the garden. And once we started the Green School investigation, we started to learn more about this, like things that we didn't know. And other like interesting things that we learned were that specifically in science classrooms, that if you left the water running for too long, brown liquid would start coming out, and that we had a lot of leaky faucets. And after we brought that to the attention of some of the staff, it got resolved. And it did empower us a lot, and it did create leaders, because we were able to walk around the school and ask questions and create more bonds with the staff there and administrators. And we were also able to learn more about them, and it's something that became like a routine to just go up to them and ask them questions about the building or about the water system or the sewers. And it did make us more confident overall. We learned about the building as well, and like learned different rooms or hallways that we didn't know were there, or different things that the school had physically that we didn't know we have. And it was just a wonderful experience, getting to learn more throughout this process. And that's why one of the reasons I enjoyed still doing this, and why I still continue the same green efforts throughout these 3 green schools that we have right now here in Houston. There are Landtrip Elementary, Jackson Middle School, and Austin High School, which is the one I recently graduated from. All 3 of them are currently green schools at the moment, and what we're trying to do is create like a green corridor. We call it the Green Schools Grapevine, and we're trying to have like a green feeder pattern for all 3 schools, so when the students graduate, they can move on throughout the schools and learn as they go. So that way they're exposed at an early age about their school and the environment, and they're able to learn with the investigators as well. And as a Green Schools student leader, I go around through all 3 schools and help out the teachers with their investigations, help out the students with any questions that they need. I assist them also with any tasks like gardening the plants or watering the plants or cleaning up around the garden, or taking the kids out to harvest any food or fruits that they have around their garden. And overall, it's been a wonderful experience working with them and helping them out in their Green Schools investigation. I still continue to learn a lot every day I go, and you learn something. I learn something new every day, and it has helped me overall in everything, and it does help empowering kids and giving them a voice at their school and even in their community. It has helped me also in my community. I've been able to learn so many things, and also learn from the students and learn about my community and create different bonds. And that's one of the things that I like about Project Learning Tree Green Schools, because it's very versatile. It's something that you don't just have to keep at the school. It's like whatever you learn, you can take it with you anywhere. Take it to your house, take it to your mom's work space or somewhere. It's just very versatile, and it's wonderful to be able to be a part of that and help the children learn and help them experience all these new things that they can learn and take with them to other places. It does, like I said, it does help. It has helped me overall with all my friendships and building bonds and partnerships, like with Project Learning Tree, the U.S. Forest Service, and the Texas Forest Service, especially since they do provide resources and like workshops and tools and trainings for you to use for your investigations and throughout the school. And I'm just very thankful for all that. And it has helped overall a lot for all these 3 schools and with our green movement, and they're all doing very wonderful. And just to be able to be a part of that is amazing. And I do encourage all of you out there to go check out GreenSchools or see if any of your local schools are interested in becoming. It'll help them overall a lot and become a better school and become more efficient. I know it has helped me out and along with the other schools and in the community, and it has created a bigger bond, and we're all able to work together and just call each other if we need anything, or we need more students to help out clean this or help out with that or move stuff around. And it creates a bond between the community and all the students as well. And the feeder pattern is a wonderful idea, and it helps out everybody in the community, and I know it has helped me. And like I said, I'm a university student right now, and I haven't decided on like a major in anything, but I know this is like something that GreenSchools has helped me helped me consider. And that's one of the reasons that I don't know where exactly I'm majoring in, but I know I want to go like into the field of environmental science. And I'm just thankful for everybody that's involved in just this movement, like youth movement or empowering students, because it does help them overall as they're growing. Like it has helped me, and I just want to say thank you to all of you. And like I said, I encourage y'all to go out there and learn more about GreenSchools, or show your schools tell them about GreenSchools, and tell them what it's about and how wonderful it is. And thank you for your time. Now I will be handing over the presentation slide to Elizabeth.
We want to first of all thank Nayeli just for being a part of the GreenSchools program. She is truly a force of nature, and whatever she decides to do in terms of her major, we trust you will do excellent, same way that you have been a true godsend for the GreenSchools program. She is single-handedly creating a pipeline for GreenSchools in Texas, so we applaud her for all of her efforts. The next person that I'm pleased to introduce, Elizabeth Balbaloa. She has been an intern, and I think her being a part of the GreenSchools program just represents the power of positivity, persistence, and passion. We met her at an NAAEE, the North American Association of Environmental Educators, about a year or so ago, and we just loved her energy, and she expressed a desire to be a part of the program. And through her passion for environmental ed, through her persistence and keeping in touch with her, she was able to be brought on board as a GreenSchools consultant. And it's hard to believe that she's only been here for less than 2 weeks, and she has already left her DNA on the program. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Elizabeth.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Babalala. James keeps talking about how it was my persistence that ensured that I am now a part of the GreenSchools program, but I keep telling him that it was encouraging to have someone respond to your emails when you actually sent them out. Regarding my involvement with environmental education, I actually started out with community and health developmental work. My first degree back at home in Nigeria was in microbiology, and shortly after that I began working with young people. I've always had a passion for working with young people, and although I didn't have the opportunity to be engaged in programs like Project Learning Tree back at home, we had programs that allowed us to engage high school students on health issues, especially HIV and AIDS, and I was involved with that as a peer education trainer, teaching teenage boys about reproductive and sexual health education and equipping them with the life skills that they need to reduce their risk of exposure to the virus. And that was my first exposure to youth voice, as the teenage boys and teenagers across the state gave a voice to the concerns that they had. Right on after that, my first exposure to environmental issues was with mangrove reclamation through a program that is currently being run by Concern Universal. And there it was encouraging communities to adopt sustainable practices in managing their natural resources. I was privileged after that to join the Yale School of Forestry and Environmental Studies for my master's program, and that has opened up numerous doors for me to be engaged in environmental education. The pictures here show you a couple of those. One of them is with the Urban Resources Initiative, where we work with high school students in the New Haven, Connecticut area, planting free trees across the city. All that the families and the individuals who request the trees have to do is pledge to take care of them. I've also been privileged to work with high school students in the New Haven public school system out in the field and in their classroom with lots of engaging activities, getting them to understand and focus on the human impacts of the New Haven area on the surrounding watersheds. Another opportunity I've had was with the Environmental Film Festival at Yale, where I was privileged to be involved with the very first youth contest for film and photography, giving youth in and around New Haven an opportunity to voice their perspective on environmental issues. Now, this summer, I have my hands full with two very important projects to me because they're designed to prepare me for my career in Nigeria that will be focused on environmental education, youth engagement, and youth voice on environmental issues in Nigeria. Next slide, please. Okay, so like I said, my hands are full this summer. The first of those projects was designed to, was a survey back at home in Nigeria of the environmental knowledge, attitudes, and practices of high school students. We call them secondary school students, but they are the equivalent of grades 9 and 12 students in Cross River State of Nigeria. The essence of that project is to contribute to the body of knowledge in environmental psychology, and also provide a baseline for my postgraduate work of environmental science and environmental education in Nigeria, which I will speak to more in a couple of minutes. The second thing I have my hands full with is the pleasure of working here at Project Learning Tree as a summer consultant. And what I'm doing here is understudying a veteran organization. PLT has been involved with environmental education for several years. The GreenSchools program, like Alan James said, is about 5 years old at this point. And I have the privilege of understudying them to see what really makes this model tick. What is it that has allowed it to be so successful? My aim is to export that model to my home country of Nigeria. Next slide, please. And in keeping with their decision to take me on board, I have, in the very first 2 weeks of what will be an 11-week program, seen so many facets of what it takes for PLT to be in action. For example, the mural that was featured in the news piece is a demonstration of student ownership. The students put together a proposal of their own, requesting to have that mural put up. I've been privileged to see student gardens here in DC, to see green action projects in all of the schools, and the Green Works grants that Al talked about in action in several schools. I've also witnessed how the PLT program maximizes real partnerships with these schools and with other institutions like the Smithsonian Research Institute and with the United States Forest Service here in DC and across the country. And that relationship is exemplified in the role that PLT plays in other non-environmental related issues. So, for example, we played a huge role at the graduation at Barnard, and we're involved with Yu Ying as they celebrated their 5-year anniversary. My hope is that all of this knowledge and experience that I am gaining here, I can then use to implement service learning in Nigeria. There is an existing framework already of clubs like climate change adaptation clubs and mangrove action clubs in the country. Some of the locations are highlighted in the map. Nigeria is found in West Africa. and Lagos State and Cross River State are only two of the states that have adopted what I would call a green perspective on many issues and are taking bold steps with environmental issues. Cross River State, for example, is home to the endemic gorilla, and so there's been work with primary conservation in that region for several decades at this point. My hope is that what I learn here at PLT will enable me to adapt model to the unique environmental needs at home in Nigeria and take the great work that PLT has been doing here, for example, what we saw with Nayeli, and give Nigerian students an opportunity to not just give their voice to issues, but also become very engaged in policy creation and policy implementation on the ground. As a developing country, it's very important that we engage our young people on what James likes to call service learning on steroids. I think the sooner we get those kinds of activities into third world countries, the better we'll be, not just in those regions, but as a globe entirely. And I'll just take this opportunity to say a really big thank you to James and Al. I've only been here for 2 weeks, but I must say that I've been exposed to so much, and I'm getting to see what happens underneath the hood here at PLT.
We want to thank Elizabeth. She has already added value to the Green Schools program. And when I reflect on what I heard from both Nayeli and Elizabeth, they hit many of the same notes: partnership, community. We are proud of the fact that at this point of having Elizabeth on board, and we do have some international connections with the Green Schools program. We invite you to go to greenschools.org, and you can see a map in which you can see all of the green schools that are in your respective state, or see the schools that we have internationally. We are probably, this is our maybe 8th or 9th webinar that we've done with the Green Schools program. If you go to greenschools.org, you will be able to see a blog that we plan to do in the near future that would feature Elizabeth. And we also hope to have a webinar from one of the schools in Nigeria that she has already incorporated into the Green Schools program. And she also said something that I found very interesting in regards to policy implementation, and saying that she wanted students to be a part of that. We find with the Green Schools paradigm that it starts with students, but they reach out to their parents reach out to community organizations, and before you know it, that Green Schools becomes a community hub that can catapult the entire community, city, and indeed nation to a higher plateau. There were a number of questions that we got during the webinar. I just wanted to ask one very quick poll question. Marcus, are you still with me? We had a poll question. We wanted to find out what percentage of you guys out there have schools who are a part of either a state or a national Green Schools program. So if you look at your chat box feature, you ought to see the question: is your school involved in a state or national Green Schools program? We'll give you a minute or so to respond to that. And one thing about Green Schools, we realize that although we are one of the premier, and we probably think on some levels one of the best Green Schools program, we embrace a number of our Green Schools program. We are all complementary and working toward the same goal of trying to have our students embrace the idea of being environmental stewards, make their schools more sustainable. So we encourage you to, of course, go to greenschools.org and become a part of PLT, but if not, go to your state program or any program that can help you in the pursuit of trying to reduce your school environmental footprint. The answers are in, and from what I see, we have about maybe a third of you or so are a part of a Green Schools program. So to those of you who are not, we invite you to do so. So we are about to come to a close. We mentioned a number of things before. If you look at the slide before you, there's the contact information for each of us. Al, once again, is the Director of Education Programs for PLT. I am the manager of the Green Schools program. Nayeli, she has her email. If you are in Texas or just have any desire to learn about more of what she is doing to empower students, feel free to reach out to her. And Elizabeth, although she will be here for a finite time period, once you become a part of the PLT family, you never leave. So we hope that even beyond her time with us in August, we know that she will be a part of that PLT engagement, be it in Connecticut, be it in Nigeria. She will be a consistent part of the Green Schools program. So we thank you for your continued support of Green Schools. Once again, if you're not registered, we invite you to do so. If you go to our website, you will be reminded that the deadline for our next grant opportunity is going to be September the 30th. And I would be remiss if I also did not express a special thanks and gratitude to NYLC and to Landtrip Peterson, who has made this webinar possible. And we hope that you can be a part of the Green Schools program in the future. Go to our website. We have a number of webinars, climate change and others that are scheduled. Go to the website and find out. We thank you for being a part of this. We know that you could have been anywhere today and you decided to be with us for the past hour. And also we wanted to thank our Spielberg, Marcus Penny, who has been the tech person behind the scenes. So thank you for your continued support, and please log on and be a part of our Green Schools feature programming. Marcus, are we?
I think there might still be some people on. I kind of hear myself. Just for those still listening, I want to let everyone know that we're sending out a follow-up email that'll have a link to today's webinar. So if anyone had any questions, still be in touch with me so you can get for that.